Hi everybody. Well, nobody. Welcome back to Beaverbrook. My HO scale shelf layout, all 8 feet of it, based on Beaverbrook Road in Moncton in New Brunswick, Atlantic Canada. There's a bit of a backstory behind what you see here. If you're interested, go and have a look on my website and have a dig about for Beaverbrook, and you'll find lots more there. There's also plenty more videos on the channel. We're mid sort of operating session here. I tend to run the layout and then just pause, you know. What you'll see is I've arrived with a train, and I've there was a covered hopper here that's been moved back here, and then the boxcar here was actually at Atlantic Transload at the front, so that's been shuffled in there. And then I've just, obviously gone off and done something else and left it like this for a few days. I thought I'd do a quick live this evening, and a chance to run some trains and think about the week. It's been a busy week here, lots to go at and talk about, but let's get things underway. So I think the next job is to move these two boxcars, incoming traffic, to Atlantic Transload here at the front, and then I think I'll have to shuffle this blue one back into the siding up against the van, and then I can do the swap the covered hoppers over, and we'll see how long that all takes. Anyway, and so I'm not going to move the camera around this evening, so the train will disappear and reappear, and hopefully it's not too noisy and you'll be able to hear me whittering on as well. So this green switcher, this SW1500 wears the colours of my faux history version of Terra Transport, assuming that CN sort of palmed off all the maritime. I don't know, why have I done that? You can tell we're live. Palmed off all the maritime operations to Terra Transport ahead of privatisation, and then at privatisation, Terra Transport went its own way, and Dartmouth Terminal is one of the lines, if you like, that runs out of Dartmouth, switching in Burnside and places like that. Quite why it's here in Moncton, who knows. My good friend lives in Dartmouth, so it's a nice sort of tribute to him to have it here. I also, one of my early HO scale models many years ago was an SW1500. My dad brought it back for me from a trip to Canada. It was an undecorated one. I still remember painting it. It wore CP rail for many years, but eventually I repainted it into a sort of fake short line based in Saskatchewan, and that was green, and so it seems nice to have one here. It's got a soundtracks decoder in, which isn't, I think doing it now, it's one of the early models I did. Doing it now, I probably put a lock sound in, but I've got the sound really tuned right down on this one. It's a really lovely running model from Broadway, but the sound it came with was absolutely appalling. So stripped out the speaker and sound that it arrived with, and fitted this. So I mentioned in the intro, it's been a busy week here. I don't know what you guys have all been up to. I suspect it's been a busy week for many of us. And whether it's Beaverbrook here or Paxton Road behind me, I find running some trains is a good way to unwind. I think I wrote about it briefly on my blog today. Those first few moments, you could almost put the controller down, couldn't you, and walk away. It just feels like hard work. But if you can push through that, the peace and the sanctuary that follows is pure magic. So I'm already enjoying this, and also I'm obviously exercising my mouth with you as well, doing a lot of talking, and none of you can answer back. So the train's just heading off stage. Well, no, it's not off stage for me, but off stage for you, just to the turnout to access Atlantic Transload, which is across the road, across Beaverbrook Road. So it's been an exciting week for me in some ways, because the first copies of my new magazine, occasional, or I don't know what people would describe it as. It's a magazine format, but not as regular as, or not even regular, I'm not even sure what the frequency is going to be. It was an experiment. The first ones have landed with people this week, people who I've never met, who've bought it just on what I've said about it online. And it's been really wonderful to read and to receive such warm feedback from people who, mix. Some people perhaps have struggled with the content a little bit, but it is deliberately very different, and I'm just bowled over by how people describe their reaction to it in a way that, well, one, it makes it all worthwhile, obviously, but they really get it, and it's just so exciting. So yeah, that's Ribbons, and if you don't know anything about it, do go and have a look on my website. There's a bit more about it there, and there's a video on YouTube where I sort of talk through the content of that. Anyway, the pre-orders went very well on that first issue, or on this first issue. So well that we didn't really have that many left over to sell. I've been doing the sort of production of it with my friend Steve at Light Railway Stores. Those of you who've been around long enough will remember that Steve and I did the Kerr Stewart Victory as Planet Industrials a few years ago, so we've done various projects together over the years. He offered to help, which was really kind of him. So we obviously ordered an amount that covered the pre-orders plus a few extra. We put the remaining copies on sale, and we sold through them in a day and a half, 2 days. And we weren't intending to do a second run. I mean, we talked about a second print run, but there wasn't really any sort of firm intention to do that. Certainly not yet, but demand has been so high, and so many people signed up on the notification list for it. So yeah, there's a second print run in hand now here in the UK. It's printed by Lavenham Press. So yeah, it's really exciting. But yeah, it's been really full on, sort of contend with all that. And of course, you're a bit like social media surfing as well. You always, when you produce something like this, part of you is sort of hungry for feedback, and so you've got an idea when it's going to land on people's doormats, and then the eager anticipation, perhaps trepidation to some degree. It's been a really personal project, a very sort of deeply personal thing for me to put together. And if those of you who've got it will realise that piece I've written in there about Gerald Road, which hasn't been on the blog, is very, very personal. So yeah, it's been positive to see what people have said, and I'm really pleased that people get it. And will we do another one? Yes, definitely. Plans are in hand for that, and I've got a few people promising me some articles, some people, friends I know, and some strangers. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and it's wonderful. I had an email from someone in Uruguay this week asking how they could get their hands on a copy. It's like absolutely fantastic. It's gone all over the world. So thank you all of you who've supported it, and support me in the blog and whatever. Really, really do appreciate it. So as well as Ribbons, it's been busy here in the workshop with various other bits and pieces. So just underneath the scene you're looking at is where I do my commission model making. And yeah, I've got a backwards miniatures NGG16, the Garrett here, that's been, parts of it are incredibly well assembled. I believe it's been through 2 professional builders before it came to me, and both gave up. But at least one of them has done some really, really nice work on the body and some of the components of the chassis, but it was all in bits, and it's an absolute pig to put together, really. So last week I managed to get the wheels in and the gearboxes and everything, and the fly cranks on, and roughly quartered. It's really difficult to quarter because you have to solder the fly cranks on, so adjusting them is almost impossible. So it's okay. It could be better if there was a bit more ease of adjustment. But it runs, which is, I think, an amazing achievement, and my customers are very happy with that. So this week I've put the valve, I'd assembled the valve gear as well last week. This week I've put the valve gear on, and it looks great. It's on pictures on my blog. So in celebration, I've done nothing else with it. I just couldn't sit down with tiny brass bits any further. So that's been paused. I'm gonna hopefully get some pickups on it next week. And then I've also been repainting and refurbishing a 16mm scale Garden Railway model, a really lovely old brand bright Fowler diesel. So I've been adding to the paint finish. We've kept the original green, and I've just added the black edging with the yellow lining this week. Had a bit of a minor disaster with it. Well, it was major at the time. I sealed it with the Games Workshop varnish. Now, I had trouble with this last time I used it, and it's actually for the same customer. But I figured it'd be alright, it'd be alright. But it went milky again. Well, it didn't go milky last time. I had problems with it dissolving the paint slightly last time, which we worked into the rail finish, so it was okay. But this time it went milky. So, happily saved with a tin of old Humble gloss varnish. Thank goodness for Humble, hey? So it's sitting down here towards my right, ready. Now it's back in a sort of semi-gloss finish, ready for a lacquer. I'm going to use my preferred lacquer, which is made by VMS, and that'll knock it back to a nice dull sheen, and it should be hard wearing enough. And then yesterday I started cutting all the, well, I didn't start, I started and finished cutting all the wood for a new layout commission. Which I've got together today, so the box is now together and glued. So it's a little bit of work on the structure again, probably on Monday, and then it'll be onto some of the scenery. So yeah, very varied and busy, but it's nice to be busy, isn't it? But I've been a little bit under the weather as well, so I'm not sleeping great. So all piles up this time of year. So that is Atlantic transload served, and we're now going to head down to Co-op and switch out the two cars that are in there at the minute with the one that arrived yesterday or earlier in the week. So I don't know how many of you follow my website. You may have noticed that the on paper page has changed today. I've been messing around with it. If you haven't looked, go and have a shifty, you'll see what I mean. So it's obviously got a list of all the things that I've had printed, all my books and magazines and things. But there's two exciting new things that have broken cover today at the top. The first of which is the title and a sort of mock-up of the cover of my next Wild Swan book. Now, many years ago, when I was probably 13 or 14, I picked up a copy of Martin Welsh's The Art of Weathering, and it changed my life. It gave me the confidence to ruin a Lima Class 47. Yeah, it was written in such a way that it really, I don't know what it did, it just gave me the confidence to sort of pick up a paintbrush and just have a go. And Simon's been pestering me, Simon at Wild Swan has been pestering me to do a weathering book for a while, and I kept putting it off, saying I didn't really want to do an instructional book. I've been doing a lot of thinking about it over the last sort of 6 months, and I kind of decided actually I could do something. I'd like to do something that encouraged people. It's not going to be an instruction manual. It's going to give you some tips and tricks, and it's going to be some worked examples in there too. I've been collecting models to use for that purpose that haven't appeared on the blog and will be done from scratch with lots of photos taken. But it won't be like like a military modeller's book where you've got hundreds of pictures and tons of instruction. It's going to be more emotionally intelligent than that, hopefully. It's going to get us to think about why do we weather things. Let's understand our prototype. Let's understand how things weather in reality. It's going to talk about colours, it's going to talk about shades, it's going to talk about techniques we can use to create those effects. And then, so there's going to be some worked examples. I'm quite excited about it, actually. I think it's going to be the James Hilton update, if you like, of The Art of Weathering. So I asked Simon, was it okay to use the same title, and he said that's fine. It's not the same book. I'm not rewriting Martin's book. I'm writing my version of it. It's not going to be to everyone's taste, but hopefully, even if only a handful of people pick it up and then go ahead and in inverted commas, ruin one of their own models. My good friend Tim will get that joke. Then it'll have been worth it. And the second thing that's broken cover on there is Model Railway Companion 3. So the content for that, all the layouts are in. I've got some absolute crackers this time. I can't wait to tell you what's in there. I've got a few layout plans to draw, and I've got to photograph my own Denton Road layout, which is finished now, so that needs photographing. And I've got words from everyone apart from the layouts I've put in myself, so I need to write some words for the Coleridge Street and Denton Road are my two layouts that I'm going to feature at this time. And whether it continues beyond the third issue, I don't know. It depends on you lot. I mean, first issue sold out really quick, second issue's done well, but there are still some left. It seems to have slowed down a bit. And I had some, positive feedback about the style and the content, but also some feedback around some of the quality of the images where I've really pushed what's possible with the files we've received. And that does mean you do get the odd muddy one, or one where it looks fine on the screen, and then when you print it out, it's a bit fuzzy or dark. And I hold my hands up. That's my fault. It's, I suppose, to some degree my inexperience, and also my passion. I wanted to share these things. I'm so excited by them that I'm not looking at those perhaps finer details where I should be. So this third one, I'm hoping, will address some of those issues, and it'll be a really solid third instalment. And I like trilogies, so if it just becomes a trilogy, that's fantastic. But if you think I should do more Model Railway Companions in the future, or if you've got a layout that you think I should feature, then do get in touch, either here or on my Facebook page or on my website. There's ways to get in touch with me there as well, under the commissions page, if you have a look down there. Now, I have got back on a layout. I've got a sneaking feeling this isn't going to fit, because I think these cylindrical hoppers are longer than the boxcars they replaced, and that blue CN boxcar is one of the KD ones with the cushion couplers, which also extend further out, so I have a suspicion I'm going to struggle now. So what we might do is assume that the mill had emptied the CPU rail car, but they hadn't quite finished with the pool car, so let's take the pool car back with us. The beauty of a layout without car cards and switching schemes. It's just made up on the fly, whatever I feel like. At the end of an operating session, if this train leaves, which it will do at the end of this session, when that leaves, it'll park off stage for you down the left-hand end of the layout. I'll switch that train out. I'll swap the cars with ones that are in storage boxes under the layout. I'll swap the loco, so it's ready for another operating session, different every time. If you've watched these videos before, I do not think there'll be anything new for you. Here, everything's as it has been, but it's always different, always fresh. What you can't see is I'm looking at the cardboard building I've still not turned into styrene. I keep promising myself that was going to be this year. Still a few months left. We'll see. I mean, we will see, I suppose, because behind me on the shelves, just under Paxton Road, is a new layout I've started called Come Back, which is on my blog as well. A Welsh N-gauge coal mine, or coal disposal point really, based on the Beauport in Brundrath, inspired by Cwmawr. I've sort of been invited to exhibit it, even though it's not started. So this might mean that it has to take somewhat of a priority. But I'm really excited. It's the first time I've been asked to exhibit anything for a very long time, apart from obviously my own exhibitions earlier this year, which was great fun. If you're one of the people who came along, I really enjoyed that. But yeah, really nice to be asked out on the road. So looking forward to that, but obviously we'll have to finish the layout. In the weeks ahead, I'm hoping to get down to, well, not hoping, I booked the ticket, so I've got to be there really. I'll be at the NEC, at the National Festival of Railway Modelling, on the 22nd, on the Saturday, so I'll be there from about midday through to closing. So if you're about and you see me, do feel free to come over and say hello. I'm always happy to chat to people. I'm not exhibiting, I'm just there as a punter. I'm coming down on the train from Roehaven. And then potentially I might be down in Cardiff at the end of the month. I've been invited by one of the guys who works at Lord and Butler. I hadn't realised just how close it was to where my mum's moved to take down something to exhibit. I mean, the only stumbling block there is it's a very small one-day affair, and they can't cover expenses, and it would be very expensive for me to go down in the train. So I need to sort of think about, well, I'm in the car, I need to think about it. It's actually, I hadn't realised just how far Cardiff was compared to Birmingham. Anyway, off I go down here. Yeah, I hadn't realised just how far Cardiff was, and you look on the map, it's further south than Birmingham, a lot further south. So I was sort of surprised at the price. It's £40 for me to go to the NEC. It's going to end up being like near enough, well, over 80 quid to go to Cardiff. When I've been going down recently, I've been taking the kids and using the family rail card, which means that you obviously get you get a discount on the adult ticket. As well as a discount on the child ticket. Makes it very, very cost effective, much cheaper than driving. Even driving my little fuel efficient up, I mean, that's taking into account the full life cycle costs of owning a car, not just the fuel. I do love this loco. So we'll see. So yeah, if you'd like to see me go down there, if you're in that neck of the woods, then get in touch and encourage me, because at the moment I'm in 2 minds. And then here this weekend, we'll wrap things up now. Here this weekend in Congothlin, or near Congothlin, we've got the last operating timetabled weekend running of the season on Remembrance Sunday. It's been a really lovely year to be involved with the railway. I've enjoyed it here for many years, living next to it, but it wasn't until Terry encouraged me to get involved. Last year I gave him a lot of help with the design work on the magazine. He said this year, just volunteer, get involved and do it. That can be your volunteering. So I'm now the designer stroke editor with him on D Valley Mail, the Railways magazine. And it's been lovely to do that. And I also enjoy taking photos of trains here in the valley, and then sort of donating them, if you like, for publicity purposes as well. So yeah, it's been really good, and I'm looking forward to seeing that train on Sunday. I'll make sure I'm out to wave it through on its last run back to Congothlin, and then we won't have anything until the Santa Special starts, which actually isn't that far away, sadly. Bar humbug. Right. So that's the crew done for today. Just taking 2 cars back. When you introduce something like the van or the caboose for you non-Canadian modelers, you always find you end up snarling something up. Sometimes I'll put a chemical car on there as well and assume the chemical plant is offset, so it comes up to Beaverbrook with the train having been switched elsewhere, and then leaves obviously having just cluttered the place up. So the van does the same thing, and it's quite nice though. It feels fitting with the Terra Transport era. It's just assumed to be a shoving platform for the crew shove up from Gort. Is it Gort? From the yard anyway in Moncton. So there we go, half an hour of waffling on, running trains. Feeling much calmer actually. Looking forward to a beer later, some good TV, some time with my partner, and then over the weekend hopefully a chance to spend some time with the kids. It's obviously their first week back in school this week. And a bit of personal model making time in some form or another. Anyway, that's another live on Beaverbrook wrapped up. I do hope you've enjoyed it if you've joined me live. If you haven't, then you can watch these back as well. There's a whole series of these. You can watch the previous ones back as well. Obviously, the waffle will not be is time sensitive to some degree, but the trains aren't. So yeah, thanks again. Hope you all have a lovely weekend wherever you are. Find some time for your hobby, whether it's out train spotting, rail fanning, reading a book, magazine, doing a bit of model making, or just a bit of daydreaming about what you would like to make one day. Take care wherever you are, and we'll see you all again soon.